So what I intend to do is, I think I had just three things to talk about today. One was the government, the policy, and what's really happening on that front. How far have we moved on that? And on the mission, which is what is very close to this government, 24/7 power for all. So I will very briefly cover that because I think most of it has already been spoken. I have just one point to say there. And the second issue that I wanted to talk to you today was the sponsors' capital and the equity contribution. That is very essential. Not only are you going to bring in as part of your commitment, but there is a lot of structured and other solutions that we are going to be able to put in place for you people, and we are going to suggest that to you. Some of that has already been spoken, so I'll leave that, and I'll only cover what is very essential for you to know to make your projects a little more successful. The third thing I wanted to talk to you about is the debt, which actually comprises around 70 to 80% of your project cost today, and is actually a very critical success factor for your projects to succeed. What are the challenges and how we have solved it on a grassroots level? So I'll share those practical notes with you. I think since morning, and I think a very important thing that was discussed, which benefited me also a lot, is 2030 and beyond. So I think all very well covered since morning. More than 175 gigawatt clear target, 100 gigawatt, very, very well, beautifully structured, I would say, laid out policy, very clear, very visible on the ground, year on year, almost touch and feel now, 12 gigawatt, almost certainty to be coming in the next year itself. So I think we're talking about a great mission in the making, and why would all the investors in the globe not be very bullish on India with that kind of a perspective? Again, very well laid out, $250 billion or approximately 16 trillion Indian rupees is what you need to raise that. Well, a mission like that with the unprecedented kind of size and magnitude can actually not succeed, and I'm sure you'll all agree with me, unless it stands on its 4 feet. And these 4 feet are of self-sustaining in nature, which it will have to be, grid parity, the economic viability, the bankability, and the returns assurance. I think, again, a lot of it being structured now, a lot of it visible now, power purchase agreements to ensure the returns, the bankability, I think already discussed by my learned co-panelists already, so you are very well in picture of that. All of that will have to be, brought about to make it successful. So the more critical issue I would say I would like to discuss is the equity. And I would like to specifically bring out an issue which is what is at the core of today's financing, which is alignment between the global and the domestic financiers. And that has actually not really come about till very recently, and I'll share the notes how you can achieve that as well. So that's one of the things that I wanted to share. And critically on the equity front, not only is the adequacy of promoters' capital one of the key challenge, I think why I feel that players like us have already kind of succeeded in this sector is because we've been very finicky about one thing, that sufficiency of funds from the promoter side is one thing that we have always made sure of. So I think that's one thing you must exhibit to your lenders and your co-investors. Well, another very important thing is the success track record, both in terms of technology and in terms of, that is the technical know-how that your technical partner may be bringing, and the financial partner bringing in the financial commitment and the exhibition of that. Well, guarantees specifically we have seen, which were very, very important in the initial stages. The technical guarantees still remain very, very valid, and the financial ones get countered with the sufficiency of funds. But the key challenge is that the guarantees are going to be relevant from the partner who brings strength. And that's where actually we've seen most of the problem coming through. The strengthful partner is actually not going to bring the guarantees. He almost feels that, I'm there, so why should I? And that's where the problem starts. So your joint venture agreements, your shareholders agreements, your inter-se relationship agreement, share purchase and shareholders agreement should all very, very clearly document all these issues such that there are no challenges at the time when you go for these domestic and the international lenders. Well, when I spoke about alignment, I wanted to share a secret here with you that, in infrastructure sector, even in power for that matter, the alignment between the global lenders and the domestic lenders was actually almost unachievable till now, especially in clean energy. This has been achieved because of two large issues being absent. One, the environmental challenges, and second, the willingness of the promoters and the lenders to actually make that happen in the interest of the whole project. So that is what, and for that, I will share in the respective notes sponsors, capital, and debt. In sponsors, one of the key things that is required is the inter-SPV agreement. We have seen that global lenders which come with that global perspective in mind actually want that, the promoters, even after when they have serviced their debt, before they take their money out, they actually want that they should be between the cross SPVs, they should be leaving the funds on table enough such that their servicing happens. So this inter-SPV agreement becomes a great tool there, and we've used it at great advantage there, and I wanted to share that with you. Another thing that has worked very well is the default escrow agreement. So let's say if a default-like situation was to arise in one of your SPVs, and if you can cover it with the cash flows on the other SPVs, it will give a lot of comfort to the international lender who actually otherwise does not know how to really, kind of get into those situations. And with the help of the domestic lenders, he would be able to cover that up. So that has worked very well, and I thought I'll share that practical note with you. The rest, I think $10 billion is all the equity that power sector has attracted in the last 14 years. I am giving you the data till the August 2015 actually. So what you need against that is around $50 to $80 billion, which I'm sure I would like the international investors here and all of them to actually commit more and more, because that's almost 5 times of what has come in the last 14 years. So you really need that money. Please structure your projects very well. Please have your management contracts very well. Involve people. ESOPs and other things are very great tools to exhibit to the international investors that your teams are not going to run away as you grow from SPV to SPV and build larger companies. That's very important, but exits are equally important. When an equity investor comes in, he's actually looking for that exit. Capital markets till now have not really shown that kind of vibrancy. So please do structure some kind of instruments clearly visible, and take the best advice of not only the people present on this panel, but as many mentors as you can catch hold of. Structure good instruments such that it is not causing a cost on you at the end of it, but somehow allows you to leverage that position where, the key challenge still remains of the capital market vibrancy has still not really come into this, though it is one of the most attractive sectors. I promise to you that I meet so many investors, and the kind of outlook that they have for renewable energy and especially solar is really, really great, but that's what it is. Global markets are not in the best of the health, so I would still say that private equity remains a great option. Some of the more innovative instruments that have come about to be is quasi-equity kind of instruments, and I think you are very well aware that an instrument which gives the returns to the investors of the debt kind, and you a kind of an instrument which gives you equity-like feelings such that it lasts more than your debt lenders, is actually what quasi-equity's role is, and I think you people need it. Around 10% or so of your total project cost could actually come about from that source. So you should take the best use of that. Since InvITs and AIFs have already been covered, I will not spend even a minute on that and would leave that if required for questions. Another more important thing I would like to cover is, the cost effectiveness. As I think you've rightly seen in the presentations already made by my learned co-panelists, that there are 3 clear stages that you can actually divide your project into and use the funds accordingly. A shorter tenor till your commissioning happens, you source money for that. A takeout around the time when your commissioning of the project is done, visibility of revenues is there, you can actually get cheaper funds at that point of time, and alignment and other things with the global lenders will actually help you bring down the cost. You could similarly use more innovative instruments like the corporate bonds, the green bonds. The greener your project can give the bond rating to, the cheaper can be your source of funds. And if you can use funds which typically allow tax leverages to the lender, like the lease funds and so on and so forth, you could actually get much cheaper funds. So they'll be to your great advantage as well. Tools like credit enhancement, takeout finance, 525, giving you longer gestation on your projects are again to your advantage. And I think all of us are here to answer some of your questions on that as well. Priority sector, the rooftop projects that we were discussing about in the morning, we have been able to structure a small policy now such that the banks are already giving you loans for your rooftop, domestic, as well as commercial, ranging between up to say 15 crores or so, starting from around 5 lakhs or so. So I think you can take a great benefit out of that. Only one thing, we are a very serious player in this sector. We've been advisors to governments like Government of Gujarat for their solar mission. We've helped a lot of renewable energy projects to come through. We have what it takes to, kind of value the companies and also raise money. So that's the one reason why you can listen to us. I think enough of that. So if I don't impose time on myself, nobody else is going to listen to me. I'll have to contain it in that. And I'm sure you were bubbling with your question. So please identify yourself with your question. Very briefly, put one question at a time. And so that, more of you can ask those questions. And please say to which panelist you would like to raise the question. We'll try to answer all of that. Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you once again.